I do declare there's been a murder on this podcast. Climb aboard the podcast, little boys and girls. You my new best friends.
Savannah.
You my new best friends.
Where's this coming from, Russell? Give our listeners some context.
Welcome, fellow travelers. We'll just go from one voice to another. My name is Russell Tyndall. My co-host is Nettie Pruitt.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an Adventure Time podcast. We're talking about Mystery Train this episode. Sort of. We'll see how much we stay on topic, but we usually do a pretty good job. And yeah, this whole thing, y'all been here, y'all know the things, but in case you're new, welcome. We love you immediately. As soon as you start listening, you are our favorite. Don't tell the others. And yeah, it's an Adventure Time podcast where I've never seen the show before, and Ned seems to love it.
Jeff.
And I'm just kidding. He loves it very much. It is very important.
Very much.
Yeah, and we're just going through each episode. So we're talking about Mystery Train, which is, as we talked about last week, a birthday episode for our boy Finn.
Our Finn turns 13.
Our
Big
baby boy
episode.
Big
I know,
boy.
man. It's exciting. Now, I had qualms
really?
Immediately. You know,
he's a big boy now.
Not with him being a big boy. Not Jake. Awesome birthday present from Jake. So Mystery Train is an awesome birthday present.
Well, that's where all their money goes. We learned that all their treasure.
Yeah.
We were wondering what they do with it. They just ball out for birthdays.
Jake hires a bunch of candy actors.
A ton of actors. He rents out a whole train.
Mm-hmm.
He sets up like an entire like gelatin pit at the bottom of a pit. A random pit in the middle of nowhere with all their friends. It's pretty great.
Yeah. Well, that was my qualm, man. Was like, okay, this is Finn's birthday, and what? There's no BMO. There's no Marcy. There's no PB. Like, I'd be bummed out if I were Finn. And Jake planned this great surprise party, and freaking none of his like best friends are there.
Yeah, and you know he's got to be bummed that Marcelin's not there. I mean, at your birthday, you're that age, you're like, you got to invite my crush, you know?
I don't know, man. Well, I was like, maybe Jake has this as like, the surprise was a birthday present, and just at the end of it, they were just going to be like cake. But there maybe is another party later that's like an official party. But yeah, I was like really bummed that like.
But it would give it away if they were there, and maybe he didn't want to be too depressing. If like all his best friends are dying, you know, like we did see your first sexy character, which was the cupcake guy.
Yeah, Mr. Cupcake.
For a bit. Mr. Cupcake.
Just for a bit there. Just before. Was it before leaving the station where Mr. Cupcake was in there?
He's on the train. Yeah, I think it's like right at the beginning of the episode. I can't remember if they leave or not, but he's definitely on the train.
Yeah. Well, and again, man, I was so curious, so peculiar that there is a train in the Candy Kingdom, and obviously they go, and everywhere they go on the train is still in the Candy Kingdom. And I was like, does this train like connect to different kingdoms? Does it just take you more towards like all the outskirts of the Candy Kingdom, like to the quote unquote like towns that we talked about? Like, is there like a little like Gumball town? Is there a little like Taffy, like the Taffy Forest? And maybe this is just a tour the Candy Kingdom train, you know?
Yeah, which you would think they would have been on by this point. I'm sure it's not the first time they're on a train.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's like, oh, you bought me a train. So maybe it is like a newer thing for Finn, which is interesting. I never thought of it like that. Maybe it's not his first train ride, but certainly, I don't know. For some reason, like that mindset reminds me of a Rurouni Kenshin episode where they're terrified of trains because of the like, it's set in the like an ancient Japanese era. Where like before all that technology had come. Anyways, that's random aside. That's not even the side I wanted to get on. I had plenty of tangents for this episode, but
plenty of train facts for this episode.
Rurouni Kenshin's not one of them. Great anime. Not one of them.
I was like, I've never heard of that one, man. That's like that's a deep cut one. Yeah.
Oh, that's like my favorite, dude. The red-haired samurai with the scar, the cross-shaped scar on his face.
Oh, maybe I have.
That's my like go-to childhood like my stepbrother, I think I've talked about it on the podcast actually. My stepbrother would be over and I would go downstairs Saturday night and just hope Toonami had Rurouni Kenshin on. Like it,
Okay.
yeah, it means a lot to me. I really love that one. But
Yeah,
anyways,
I haven't heard you reference that one yet. So, I mean, that's just a first for me.
Yeah, it's like how often is Adventure Time going to be talking about the Meiji era of Japan?
Yeah.
You know,
Not very often. Oh man,
so, I don't know.
Well, overall, man, like I just kicking this episode off. We talked about it a little bit, but like, what was your gut feeling? How does this fit into season 2 for you?
Fits in fine. I don't really have any complaints. I think this was a fun episode. I enjoyed watching it the whole time. I realize I am super gullible with Adventure Time, as I talked about a little bit last week, where, they had me. Jake had me the entire time. I watched back through it the second time. I was like, I was so dumb. You see him slipping away. He's not paying attention when the conductor's there. He's like always like so obsessed with the schedule. Got to see the schedule. Got to get a schedule. Schedule.
Yeah,
pretty ridiculous. And
yeah,
so,
there was a huge list I found of like all the reasons why you could realize that it was a ploy by Jake.
And you got the conductor. The conductor's just like, "Happy birthday, Finn."
And if you really,
obvious.
if you really like, you can hear it's Jake's voice. And there's kind of moments in the episode where like you can tell it's kind of Jake using one of his like little Jakey voices kind of thing. But
I felt so dumb. I was just like, man, they got me.
Or I got 3 specific ones that like maybe are a little less obvious, but like every time a passenger is murdered, the candy people remain uncharacteristically calm. But in Slumber Party Panic, it's revealed that when they get scared, they explode.
Well,
Remember?
Interesting.
Nobody's exploding.
I was so like thrown off by that. I was like, why are they all so calm and so okay with like a murder happens right in front of them? Not even just a murder, but the entire body goes away and just a skeleton remains. And in my mind,
like, why is everybody
the first
calm?
time I watched it, I was like, what is going on with these people? They're also like doing like one of them's like playing fiddle or whatever the pineapple guy was doing, reading sheet music. And it's just like, man, there's murders happening all around you and you're just vibing out.
Yeah. Another one that's not even just like the calmness is that the conductor, when he skates away at one point and he gives Finn his birthday regards, there's a pink smudge on the wall where the conductor's hand was, and which is that's the evidence for like the Jake face paint, whatever. Maybe it was icing. I don't know. Like,
dude, I paused on that and I was like, oh, that's a mistake. I just thought it was like a mistake done by the
artists themselves.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, how'd they miss that? But clearly there was a purpose for it. Yeah.
And then the last one, which is the one that, obviously Jake wanted Finn to figure it out and like figure it out sooner than later, because he keeps dropping little hints. And then like I think Jake's really proud of his conductor stretching abilities, because he comes in and he states that he's like, man, I'm pretty cool and awesome. And then once he leaves and Finn disagrees, Jake hastily replies, no way, man, that conductor is cool and awesome. And like it says the exact same thing, so it's pretty obvious that it's Jake the whole time.
It's so good, dude.
I don't know. So I mean, what did you think? Like it goes back to my theory when we were talking about Guardians of Sunshine, and that when they get into the video game itself, that like Finn is better at adventuring in real life than playing video games. And this one I was like, man, Finn's better at adventuring and heroing than he is at playing detective, because he's a terrible detective.
Pretty bad. But for what it's worth, like, no, I don't know. Yeah, he's pretty bad. The clues that he puts together at the end of the episode are so random and none of them make any sense. Like, gosh, I can't even. He's looking at a dictionary and he circles random words on like 3 different pages.
I know.
A conclusion. He goes, oh, the murderer is, and then they all die right in front of him,
that's why I realized I'm like Finn in my detecting abilities, because I feel like anytime I'm watching like a mystery movie, I'm like, that's important. I'm like taking every single note down, and I'm like, that's important to the ending. Like, you gotta not remember that part, and like none of it's important. None of it ties together, and I miss the whole big picture.
I think that's why I was so impressed with Knives Out, because I was like, I really do feel like everything matters so much in that film. Yeah. It's one of the few mystery films where it's like, oh, they actually wrapped up, or it felt like they wrapped up just about everything that they were doing, and they brought it all together and everything had some sort of a meaning. Even if it wasn't for the murder, It's like the baseball represents something, and like when they tell early on in the movie, they're like, oh, we all had a way of communicating with our dad that was different than, like for each person, like you had to find a game with him. And the game for the daughter was like the translucent paper or whatever it is, where you like put it next to heat and the
Yeah.
message appears and it tells her at the end of the movie, like your husband's cheating or whatever. Like
Yeah.
such a good movie.
Yeah.
Weird,
It's a
weird to
really
see
good
Daniel
movie.
Craig doing a British or an American Southern accent, but
Yeah, which is what we opened up the episode with. If you didn't catch the reference,
I do declare, Ned, it is the greatest accent I've ever heard. Sorry,
and it's just Daniel Craig doing it too. But
it's so weird.
Well, that's the funny part too. Is like, this is a mystery train. Episode was originally titled Murder Train, not Mystery Train. And I think Jake had initially made it to be a murder train, like a murder train adventure for Finn to go on, not necessarily. And Finn turns it into a mystery train because
probably so.
After the first murder, Jake was like, it's probably the conductor. Like, you should go fight the conductor. And he wants him just to have an adventure and fight the conductor, not necessarily to turn into like Detective Finn.
But the mystery was so much more fun.
Yeah, it was fun and funnier and everything. So
I've been wanting to do like I think that'd be such a great party idea. Honestly, just a murder mystery party. I've thought about that. I'm like, how do you even put that together?
Yeah, apparently they're really elaborate to put together. Just like Jake's, like he had to have all those fake skeletons. He had to have everybody on board. He had to have like
so much
moments where the train goes into darkness.
Did you have like a birthday? It made me think back to like favorite birthdays in the past. Is there one that sticks out to you as like that's like quintessential childhood birthday moment? Because this has got to be for Finn. Like that's going to be a birthday that he remembers for the rest of his life.
Yeah, man. I think it was either 13 or 14 for me. I just asked my mom, could my friends? I think we all went to like a movie or something like that because everybody did that for like birthdays in their teens. But then we came back and all had like spend the night at my house. But I was like, I just want to be a messy 13-year-old. And so my mom was like, we had soda can wars where we like sprayed each other with soda. We filled up like pantyhose with flour and like beat the crap out of each other. And it just it creates like such a mess and like basically had like food fight or something. It was like, I just asked my mom, like, I want to just go make a mess in the backyard with all the stuff I'm not normally allowed to do.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty awesome.
One kid put bars of soap in the pantyhose and just knocking people out.
What about you, man?
I don't remember much about it. I remember bits and pieces because I was so young. But when I was really young, I was obsessed with Batman. And I had Batman come to my party. And like he did like balloon animals at some point. But he was dressed up. It was such like I remember, and there's a photo of it with him kind of like having his cape around me and kind of crouching down beside me. I'm very young. But I remember his story for why he was there was he was flying over with the Batmobile to Gotham, and he just noticed some balloons for a birthday for some kid, and he's like, I'm going to stop by and make this kid's day. And like that was the reason why he was there.
And you were sold on it.
I was so sold. It was the coolest moment,
That's a good one, man.
6-year-old life, like seeing Batman. It's to the joke of like, we were talking about this other day, and I think with you and also with Allie, where it's like a lot of my core memories are like weirdly sad in ways, but it's like, that's a core memory that is incredibly positive.
Yeah. A little cool. Inside Out reference for that core memory.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why Robin wasn't there. He had a reason for that as well. I think he was like, oh, he's in the Batcave. He's just hanging out looking for the Joker. And I was like, okay.
He was a professional Batman. He was ready for any questions coming his way.
Sure. Anything that and also, do people still do that? Like, is that still a thing that happens?
Yeah,
do people hire strangers to come to your house and like?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen it way more with like Avenger-y type stuff. Like we had Iron Man come, we had Spider-Man come, stuff like that.
That's cool.
Probably more masked figures though. Like, yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I haven't seen clowns in a while. I think that one's fallen off.
Yeah, I was always wondering if it was my dad, but in that photo, I'm like, that's not my dad. Like it's very obviously not him. But
yeah.
or even like
That's all.
any
This is
friends
just
kind
gonna
of
make me
knew. It's
laugh.
just some stranger. Yeah,
It's just some stranger.
some dude.
I don't know, but yeah. This could be a core again. Just would have been a better birthday party with everybody, all of his actual
All his
buds there.
friends.
You know,
Unless they all die, like I said, that could have been so scarring to see your best friends all dying in front of your eyes. Like,
yeah.
it's
Well, that was
probably a good thing it wasn't.
Finn likes actual life threatening situations. So the fact
Does.
that, actually, I was going to say, my almost lovely of the episode is what saves their lives is the jelly mold man.
The Jelly Bowl man. Was it a
Yeah.
dude? I didn't know it was like
Yeah, it was like a candy person, but it was a
Oh.
big jelly mold. And remember, like Jake didn't have it set up that way. Jake was like, "Yep, we could have just died. It's all
That's
good."
awesome. I didn't know that. I totally
The
looked
jelly
over it.
mold had a little smile and like little legs on him. It's like we have jelly mold man at his birthday,
great.
but not Marceline.
My lovely is the floating Jake.
Give me some sugar, baby.
I said that's conductor man. Conductor for me is
Conductor man. Okay.
yeah, but it was a floating Jake.
Floating Jake. At the very beginning, he's got a bunch of like balloons that he's like floating in the air from, and he transports Finn with to an area in front of the train that has a giant birthday cake in the background. By the way, I was like, why is that not the birthday present? That's a massive cake, but no, it reminded me of there's a Pikachu that I can't remember what the Pikachu is from, but Pikachu has, I think in yellow version, actually, in the intro, kind of like run or whatever before the title pops up,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what that's called, but if you watch it on Pikachu yellow version, he's like surfing at one point, he's flying with balloons wrapped around him, and I know they've released several Pokemon cards with that, and there was a Pokemon Go like 5th anniversary Pikachu you could catch that was floating in balloons, and it looked just like that, but it was Pikachu, not Jake.
So you think that you think that was a direct reference to Pikachu because Jake's yellow and small and an animal?
It honestly could be. I don't know. I didn't look it up, but it reminded me of that, and I just loved it. And also, Jake's just great in this episode. He's such a good friend. He's amazing when he's on a skateboard. I just want to bring up how incredible some of those
that's what I was going to
tricks
say.
were.
Tops of the episode was the conductor just like kick flipping and being awesome on the train.
Yeah.
Like
he starts out, does a nollie, and he's just like, yeah, what's up? Did a freaking nollie, dude. And then later on in the episode, other than he does like a handstand or whatever, but he does like I want to say it was like a switch 180 big spin or whatever over from the top of the train down to the bottom of it over that gap. And I was just like, Jake is the best character now because he can skateboard like Tony Hawk. And I am all for that.
I love it too because it comes up later in the show and when Jake's daughter at one point has like some skateboarding friends, and this is not a spoiler because it's just a fun episode. But Jake's trying to prove to his daughter that he's cool. She doesn't really like him because he's like not around a lot, and he comes and he goes to the skate park with her and her friends, and he's just like he gets into a skate off like trying to grind over this like old abandoned roller coaster, and like Jake's an awesome skateboarder. And it's just a great episode.
I'm here for that. I'm so here for that.
It's one of my favorites of like the later seasons.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, this episode, well, actually I was going to say my runner-up lovely was the banana costume guy who's just like eating ramen in the train.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm like, why is this dude got a banana costume on? What is he like? All of those characters were like the pineapple guy, the banana costume guy. Like they're all different guys and girls. And
they don't have names, which I thought was always funny too. Like it's just like
banana guy.
That. Well, I'm trying to remember because there were so many characters. Is the banana guy? He has like the top. Is he in a banana suit or is he just the top of a banana?
It looks like he's in a banana suit because his skin's brown, I think, and then he's got a yellow banana on.
It might be Banana Man actually.
Man?
There's the banana guards and stuff like that, but there is a character coming down the road called they call him like Banana Man.
I can't keep up with all this. Come on, Adventure Time.
Yeah, he is like he's the top of a banana. You know how all the bananas are like banana guards have like the bottoms of them chopped off, and like the theory is that there's a Banana Man, and he's like what's left over from
interesting.
PB making the banana guards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I had my big laugh for this episode which again, like there's been a handful of big chuckles, but the big chuckle for this episode was the candy cane man who kept spinning and hitting the Colonel.
Smacking the first appearance of Colonel Candy Corn.
Oh, he's a recurring character?
Yeah, I think he
Fun.
really is the only one reoccurring that had like lines in this episode. Like I don't think we see Dr. Donut again. I think we maybe see Dr. Ice Cream down the road, but like not a very big but the Colonel Candy Corn is the only like meta character from this episode.
He kind of kicks off. Was that the first murder, right? When he's like, I'm going to kill you. Lights go out, come back on. Candy Cane's a skeleton.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Donut just very nonchalant, like, I think it was the guy who screamed, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I think he's the murderer, dude.
Oh, that intro's Finn's like terrible detectiveness. And he was like, it's never the person you expect the most. It's the person you expect the least.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's your best friend.
Yeah.
You got to always suspect your best friend.
Sometimes I might just be coming to murder you tonight,
Shoot.
Oh, shoot.
I'm gonna strap the S-bomb. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Dude, it did remind me of Bakano. Have you ever seen? You're probably gonna say no. The anime Bakano. Okay.
No.
Well, it's a short one. It's really good. There's so many characters involved. It's a murder mystery sort of thing where you've got a group looking for eternal life and blah blah blah. They're all on a train. It's a good anime if you're looking for a quick one to watch at some point.
Well, for other references too, I mean, it was obviously very similar to Murder on the Orient Express. Obviously, this was like the influence that came from that,
Yeah, no doubt. I've never seen that.
I never did either.
Okay.
But I know it's the same concept. There's a bunch of people on a train, somebody dies, and it's like they spend the rest of the time diving into why every person could be the murderer and why every person. It's an Agatha Christie book. I love like she does. And then there were none. Very similar to this as well, where like people get picked off one by one until it's like finally two left, and you're like, I still don't know which one the murderer is.
Yeah, Allie told me a little bit about it because she had mentioned that. She had also mentioned Clue, the movie from the 80s.
Yeah, that's a early 90s one, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and that's a great one too.
She mentioned both of those, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll look at it. And then we talked about it, and basically I learned how, like, all the endings to the murder of the Orient Express or whatever it's called. Like, it's like, okay, well, now I know what happens. But I don't know. Maybe I'll still
check the best reference with this, and actually the one that almost serves better is a reference to elements of the David Fincher movie, The Game, from 1997, where it's like, it is a mystery, a man who finds himself in many life-threatening situations. And then the end of it was an elaborate birthday present set up by his brother. And then the most notable common element is the scene where Finn and Jake are saved from falling to their deaths by the Jelly Bowl Man. And it mirrors the scene where Michael Douglas's character has a suicide attempt that's thwarted when he lands on a giant inflatable, which it turns out to be his birthday party. So like, oh
man,
it's like so many similar elements.
One of your favorites?
I'm reading a description of that for sure.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
I just couldn't help but say that's like a scene. It sounds like a scene for scene of this episode.
It kind of does, man. It reminds me how like Sky High is basically My Hero Academia, and no one will address the fact that, My Hero Academia is Sky High, which is another anime. I'm just full of anime crap today.
Yeah, we got a lot of it today.
Well, also today we're recording this like way in advance. Today is the Pokemon Johto Day, which I'm so freaking excited about. So I think I just got like Japanese culture, Japanese animes.
You've been studying up,
dude. I am so excited. After this, we're gonna go in the freezing cold and potential rain of Nashville and play a little Pokemon Go, catch some Johto guys, and
I know
hopefully
I'm gonna go to our Atlanta weather where it's 61 and sunny, and go get maybe an outside beer today.
Hey Ned, you suck. Ned.
Suck.
I'm gonna come down there to Atlanta today and murder your butt.
Beat the hell out of you.
But also, please don't get murdered today, because I'm suspect number one now, because I just said that on a podcast that will be posted online.
Yes, so, and then people will investigate you.
Yeah,
poorly.
Well, my thoughts and prayers are with you and your outside beer today, for sure.
Well, let's take a short break. I really don't have too much else. I have a couple of deep thoughts on this episode, but then we'll take it from there.
Sounds good. All right.
Coming this summer into a theater near you, in a world where the world is run by big manly men, There's one man that stands alone.
Well, I'm Babyface.
Babyface Jones comes to theaters near you with action-packed, just freaking awesome action scenes where Babyface saves the world.
I'm Babyface, and I'm gonna save the world. Yee-hee! You can run, bad guy, so you better run.
Manly-faced men don't stand a chance.
Apparently, Jones is my middle name now, or last name. I'm not really sure, right? It's canon.
That was bad.
Ned, welcome back.
Welcome back.
There's something about that voice that just hurts my throat so bad.
Yeah. Y'all, we had to do like 4 takes of that one. It still turned out pretty bad.
They were all terrible. And I think we're just going to go with the first one. It was supposed to be a murder mystery movie, but I don't know. We're not going to get any money from that sponsor. That's for sure.
The movie will make plenty of money. Don't worry.
Oh, the movie's going to freaking murder. Just like
Murder.
Babyface.
Oh, man. Well, I had a fun, deep thought. It is more for like some Adventure Time fans out there.
Okay.
And I just thought it was funny that, those of you who know Josh and Margaret, Jake's parents, it is like Josh and Margaret Detective Agency, and that they are like straight up, detectives, and they do adventuring. They fight demons and they fight, all these powerful entities and stuff. But it's like out of a detective agency, and I just thought that was so funny because Finn is so bad at it. It's like the one thing he didn't inherit from his upbringing was his parents' detective skills. Yeah,
his foster parents didn't teach him any good talent or techniques or whatever for
no, and maybe again because he's kind of more dead set on adventuring and stuff like that, and maybe I think they did have a little bit more of their detective days before Finn and Jake were in the picture.
I wonder how long ago did Finn and Jake leave the nest, if you will?
Yeah, they never really directly answer that. There's one point, and it's actually in the HBO specials where I won't tell you the lead up to it, but you do see young Finn and Jake at the treehouse, kind of like on their own. So they do stake out on their own after a little while, and it's really you don't really know what happens to Joshua and Margaret either, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Well, we know he's alive. He's not dead right now.
No, that's Jerome.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Damn, dude, that's wild that they never really addressed the parents. What happens to them?
Yeah, I know that they end up like going out on their own. Jerome stays back pretty much and stays at their parents' house, but they never really directly say like, when did they go out on their own? Like, did Jake's parents die or did they leave? And just like, did Jake just want to take care of like, little 8-year-old boy Finn in the treehouse? Like, you just never know. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting connection between this episode and what's the episode? I think it's like Joshua and Margaret Adventures or something like that.
Well, no doubt. I love the idea of them being detectives. And in this world, the land of OOO, they're needing to be detectives in general, I think is a cool concept.
Yeah. It is a really cool. And then in that whole episode, you'll see like how they interact and like investigate things. Like where does the problems come up? But it does help explain like why Finn is an adventurer and helps people and fights demons and stuff. But they go about it with a very detective mentality. And Finn goes about it with very like, I'm the hero, you're the villain mentality. And when he tries to play detective, he's pretty bad at it.
Maybe they were like the Scooby-Doo family or something, but it's reverse. It's all dogs and then one human.
It is like reverse Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so funny.
Anyways, man.
Another deep thought I had about this episode was just like, the detectives and I had that moment too at the beginning, and I was like, this person, Candy Cane Man just died. Nobody blinks an eye. Finn doesn't blink an eye. Finn doesn't blink an eye the whole episode when everybody's dying until Jake dies. And I was like, man, it just reminded me in the big world picture of it all, like being like desensitized by true crime, podcast, TV shows, documentaries, that when it's not directly like happening to you, to people you can be like, oh yeah, like the murderer like blood was all over the house, and you could see like the
And then
thing
he
was
ate their
stabbed through her
flesh
head
and
and then
yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. Like, but I want to know the mystery, you know?
But could you yeah, I can't I don't listen to those things because in my mind, like, I, like, make it too real almost, because like,
Yeah.
I'm, like, thinking about, like, "Oh, what would that be like? Oh, what would happen?" Like, you would be losing like, your animal instincts would just be taking over, and you'd be, like, not even in control, like, your brain would not be able to function, fight or flight would kick in,
Yeah.
and dude,
You
I mean,
see
it's terrifying.
Finn's fight kicks in only when Jake dies, only when he's holding Jake's
Yeah.
skeleton. And then he grabs the root sword, which we're gonna talk about in a second.
Yeah, and is it weird that Finn is, like, gung ho about it? He's like, people are dying, and he's just like, "Oh, sweet, a murder mystery. Let's do this."
Yeah,
Like,
and I was like, maybe this like it's like Finn's overstimulation of
yeah,
seeing like tragedies happen that
lots of people dying around him
I
all
don't
the
know,
time. Yeah.
lack of sympathy for the candy people, I should
Well,
say.
certainly if like, say, Susan Strong was there from the one episode we've seen her, and she died, I think again, like, to what your theory was or your kinda conversation last week that I think he would feel way more upset. I mean, even with Jake, he's pretty upset, but, like, if your best friend gets murdered, I would imagine you would react even more, um, I don't know, wild
Yeah.
or, like, even more crazy, even more sad than he was. He was just like, "Oh, I'm still level-headed, and I'm gonna go fight this guy. I'm pissed off, but, like, whatever." But
You think he'd be a little bit more frantic.
yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
there is something in me that goes, if Susan died like that, he would have lost it in the last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, it's either an inconsistency or just like, as we're getting to know true Finn, it just doesn't fit true Finn hero mentality. That if it either says Finn either felt something fishy from the beginning and knew this was kind of like a setup for
Maybe
him,
so.
or that he doesn't really feel a connection with candy people,
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe it's pretty often that he's putting himself in dangerous situations to where he could, like, actually die, and he's barely made it out so many times. Maybe he's desensitized to that. Maybe, like you're saying, like, maybe candy people die all the time, and Princess Bubblegum
Yeah.
can just make new ones. So, like, he is their hero, but at the same time, he's just not like, if he fails, it's just a learning curve. He's just, he'll get better next time.
Yeah. So
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. That's the only thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, rubbed me an interesting way. Wow, that sounded bad.
Okay, Ned. I don't want to hear how you're getting rubbed while we watch Adventure Time.
Getting rubbed. I don't know, man. That was just kind of like my it's not very deep, but that's what it reminded me of, and
Yeah.
kind of was like, just I had to sit and think about that and be like, this just doesn't feel like Finn. It feels like the desensitizing of violence in Finn's life. And but oh yeah, got to talk about the root sword.
Oh, dude, is that a permanent new sword?
To some degree, yes.
Okay.
Now it makes appearances many times, not just in the upcoming season, but like down the road
Ooh.
too. Like this is a sword that doesn't just disappear. Now it's sitting on the back of a train. I tried to even look into it to see if it had special powers or was made from a root. It does look like the root itself. That's the hilt. You see the in one episode in Bonnie and Nettie, you see the roots of the tree that grows on top of the Candy Kingdom, and it has these red roots. So it does look like my theoretically speaking here, is that the root sword's hilt is made from the roots of the tree on top of the Candy Kingdom and has some sort of like super strong magic powers. But it's always kind of like his backup sword through the show, I feel like.
Does Finn carry it with him, or does it just kind of show up places?
He carries it with him for like the rest of the season.
Okay.
And then I saw that there were some appearances of it in seasons later down the road. And I think it's more when he gets a better sword, this one just stays in the treasure room. When he loses that better sword, this is always kind of like, this one's always there. It just doesn't have any like super special attributes.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go back to your roots, man.
Oh, go back to the maybe that's why it's the root sword.
I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I'm down for it. It's not as beat up as the last sword was, the gold sword or whatever. It has an actual name, and I don't recall what it was. But that was a cool sword. But I'm like I said, we've talked about how excited we are to get into all of Finn's swords and as he grows and all that stuff. So second sword, I'm down.
Yeah,
Root
we're on it. Yeah, and we had there. Good thing. Last episode, he didn't really need a sword because he wasn't going to kill the humans because he didn't have one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he didn't really do the fighting in the last episode. It was, I think he was afraid to. He was like, "I'm going to go." What did he say? Something about negotiate with them, or I'm going to go try and convince them it's okay.
Yeah, he was way more diplomatic.
Yeah, which is even that. I mean, he's about to be 13. He's 13 now. That seems to be a sign of growth, in my opinion. You know,
it's more diplomatic than season 1 Finn for sure.
Yeah, cool. See a little growth in Finn, man.
Little growth, and then a little backtracking, and the fact that he just lets people get murdered. Oh man, no, we're analyzing that. We're holding Finn to a higher standard here.
Well, he's our boy.
He's our boy.
He's your boy, and he's becoming my boy.
I know. Well, two other things. I thought were just fun facts of this episode.
Lay it on me.
I loved the poster in the background that said "Keep an eye out for UFOs." Thought that was hilarious. Oh yeah, I got to give the soundbite a chance. And the cooler one was actually the song in this one. I guess more the mystery song sounding one was "Sneaky Panther Pants," which was a theme from SpongeBob SquarePants. When it was abridged and then turned high pitched. And it was Nicholas Carr who was the music editor. And so I think he repurposed this SpongeBob song, changed the key, abridged the song.
What SpongeBob episode? I don't.
Yeah, I actually looked it up on YouTube and just type in "Sneaky Panther Pants" and it's you'd be like, oh yeah, I recognize it. Kind of sounds like Pink Panther-esque song.
It's the one that goes, "Whatever bothers you never bothers me."
No, I'm
just kidding.
It's not the Tiny Tim song.
That is such a creepy song.
It is a very creepy good one.
Song. The murder movie, the Hey Babyface that we were trying to create, which I think is probably going to end up being him just being a hero, whatever Michael chooses of the people or whatever. that's his theme song. If you need to imagine more of let's flesh out this movie some more. Babyface's theme song is "Whatever bothers you never bothers me." That whole song, I can't even sing it. It's way too high pitched for me.
Bad. It's so bad, man.
What am I singing?
No, the Tiny Tim song.
Oh yeah. There you go. I don't know the words. That's why I was kind of mumbling through it. I was like, I don't really know what the song is, but
oh man,
Russell, it reminds me of the. Sorry.
No. It reminds you of what?
That song reminds me of the. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. That song, you got a brand new key. You don't know that?
I don't know that one.
Oh, dude, that one's also terrible. Or I don't know. Anyways, it was on a commercial. There was some commercial for something a couple years back that used that. Anyways, all right, moving on. Come on,
moving on. I just wanted to say, did you have any other high-arching thoughts, facts, or feelings about this episode?
I have a lesson. Which isn't really what you're going for, but my lesson is your best friend is the murderer, and you just can't trust anyone.
Oh, dang, that's a hard lesson.
That's what I learned. Sometimes you got to learn the hard lessons.
That's true. Sometimes he has to suspect Jake.
Yeah, suspect Jake. Suspect people named Ned that co-host a podcast with you.
Yeah, I'm the murderer.
Ned's the murderer.
I don't know. My lesson was you can't be good at everything. You got to pick being a detective or being a hero. You can't be good at everything. And Finn's learned it. I think he likes to have fun, but I'm going to call it here. He's just not going to be a good detective.
I was going to say Sherlock Holmes doesn't really fight people, but I think we saw in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes where he can hyperanalyze an opponent's move and be an incredible combatant. That's not true, but
yeah, that was very movie. It's Sherlock Holmes.
I rather enjoyed that movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's great. It's a great one. I love that movie.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that maybe.
Yeah, that's now I'm in the mood to watch that one today too. So.
But it's Pokemon Day, man. I gotta watch
go do
the
your
Celebi
Pokemon
movie
stuff.
Finally. Yeah.
Well, send us out on a high note, Russell. Tell us where we can find us, listen, rate, review.
Travelers, listen. stick with me now, please plug in. My name is Russell, and I'm here with an important message. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for being here on this journey with us. Sorry I'm being so formal and weird. But it's always the creepy weird ones, and maybe I'm the murderer. Maybe I'm Ned's murderer. Watch out, Ned. Y'all, thank you so much for listening. Go check us out, review us, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. It helps a lot, even if you don't listen there. We got to get those ratings and reviews up. It keeps us motivated. It keeps us wanting to do certain things with this podcast and really put more time into it when we know it's being appreciated, and yeah, I don't know. But either way, we're going to keep doing it. Like, we love it. It's so much fun. But I do love seeing you guys getting engaged and involved in any way that you can. Instagram us. Check us out. Never Ending Adventure Podcast. It's not all clips from the show. Sometimes we do, just like a little fun post, or like, this is what I'm checking out. What do y'all think about blah, blah, blah. TikTok, Never Ending Adventure Cast. Twitter, NEA_podcast. I'm not really in No Ned season anymore, but maybe I'll bring it back at some point. Email us at nea.travelerslog@gmail.com. Any of your thoughts, opinions, feelings about certain episodes that are coming up, let us know ahead of time. Leave whatever the subject is that you want it to be about, and we'll discuss that subject on those episodes. Check it pretty frequently. So anything that's worth talking about, we will.
Yeah. Well, instead of having advertisements, we might have our break might be a 3-minute breakout on the question you asked and the topic we can discuss,
For sure. And also YouTube. If you want to go subscribe on YouTube, even if you don't listen there, that's another way you can help us out. Get that algorithm going as well. But anyways, that's all I got. Thank you so much. And next week's going to be another fun one, I'm sure. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun. The season 2 ends strong, very, very strong.
Are we almost at the end?
We've got about 5 left after this, I think.
Okay.
No, 5 to 6 left.
Dude, I am not ready for season 2 to be over. I feel like season 2 just started.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. This is almost a full year in.
Oh my gosh,
which is crazy.
Man. That is so cool that we've been doing this podcast for that long. This is episode number 48, which is one of my favorite numbers, and 2 away from 50.
Yeah,
and we got to have
big.
something for episode 50. I don't know what it's going to be.
We'll pop 50 bottles of champagne
while we're doing the podcast. We'll have 50 voice actors from the show come on and guest on all in the one episode, because everybody's paying attention now.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's paying attention.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll get out of here. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your people. Go celebrate a birthday, even if you don't have one this week. Maybe that's the call to action. Truly, is just go throw a random birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crash
celebrate yourself.
Else's.
Yeah, crash someone else's.
That's the surprise. That's the surprise element, is that they don't know you, and you
everyone's 21 this week. No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be my 8th annual 21st birthday.
There you go. Well, our birthdays aren't for a while, actually.
I know.
And I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking for the 29. I don't want it. I'm not ready for it.
Too close to the big one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get there eventually, because I'd love to keep living. Ned, you better not come murder me today. But okay, well, he just shot me through the screen, and I am fading to black. And in the meantime, y'all, birthday party forever.
Let the juke. This is a Candy Kingdom PSA. Dear citizens of the Candy Kingdom, I know we're all sweet down here, but we please encourage you to stop bringing non-sweet and non-nice guests to the Candy Kingdom. Due to the nature of many of these non-candy guests, we always welcome people to the Candy Kingdom. We just have experienced high level of hospitalizations from candy people being eaten, growing bottlenecks in our roads due to chunks of road brittle being consumed by these guests, and high frequency of blackouts from nibbles found in our electro licorice lines. So please, if you bring guests to our beloved Candy Kingdom, make sure that they remain calm in the glory of our sweetness and stop eating our homes. This has been a Candy Kingdom PSA. Also, this podcast was recorded by Russell Tyndall and Ned Pruitt, and mix engineered by DJ Cowboy Hat himself, Michael Hitchcock. Thanks for listening.